My name is Benny Oeyen. I'm the head of market development for Anglo American Platinum. And although I am based in London, I very much have global responsibilities. And of course, China is a very big part of our portfolio and of our interest for the future of PGM demand. And what I want to do today is to talk you through a little bit of our view from our point of view, from a big major mining company. We're one of the largest producers of world-leading producers of PGM, platinum group metals, in the world. And so I want to just give you a little peek under the tent how we are thinking about the world and what we are doing and how we're shaping that world, because I think that is something that makes us unique. Often mining companies are basically observing a little bit what's going on in the world and then selling volumes and prices accordingly. We at Anglo American have a little bit of different view. We're very committed to shape our own future. So driving growing PGM demand. So on a very high level, what do we actually do? And what we do is on the left, you can see we bring together three things. That's the idea. In order to shape future PGM demand sectors. We bring together ideas, we bring together capital, and we bring together talent. And ideas is very much a basic concept in the PGM world, because actually PGM metals are very, very young. So they're like babies compared to copper or iron ore or other commodities and other metals, which are known since a much longer time. So PGMs were only discovered in the 18th century, actually. And there's a lot of things that we know that they are very good for: catalytic converters. In the hydrogen economy, they are great for jewelry. And they're also, of course, because of all that, a great investment case. But there is a lot of things that we don't know yet about these metals that they can do, and we're convinced about that because they're so pure and so unique that there's a lot of things that they can do that we don't know yet. And that is what we mean with PGM ideas. And this is also one of the reasons that we think it's a great investment case. And then we bring it together with talent and with capital, and we form spin-off companies, startup companies, which will shape future demand. So there is existing demand, as I said already, that's you see in the middle. Jewelry investment is a very known one. Catalytic converters for internal combustion engines is a very new one, a known one. And then also in the hydrogen value chain. So to produce green hydrogen with PEM electrolysis, and then once you have green hydrogen, to use it to produce power, so electricity and heat. You need a fuel cell, and also there, so platinum is used. So that's very known. But we also want to create new demand segments, and that you see on the right. We call it opportunity areas, and we have a few there. You can see them there. Carbon neutral feedstock, that is feedstock for the chemical industry, food technology, batteries and storage, low loss computing, waste and pollution control, med tech, so in the medical field, and a new alloys or new materials. So these are the areas that we are looking for. You can see. So what we want to do at Anglo American is create a wider portfolio of uses cases for PGMs. So how do we see this? Because it's a very wide world. And of course, if I tell my team go and look for PGM things, you have to take a bit of put a system to it. And the system, we see three things. We see PGMs you see it on the bottom, for a green transition, for modern life, and for wealth and luxury. That are the big themes that we see. And in the green transition, a lot is, of course, mobility. A big part of demand today goes to mobility, which is your catalytic converters in internal combustion engines. Internal combustion, I know battery electric vehicles are growing fast, but 95% or 92% of the world's cars are still with internal combustion engines, and they will be for a long time with us. So it's not going to be overnight that internal combustion engines in the world will go away. They will exist next to each other. They are complementary: battery electric vehicles, internal combustion engine, and fuel cell electric vehicles. So for fuel cell electric vehicles in hydrogen, and you see why this is interesting for us. First of all, it decarbonizes the world. It helps decarbonizing the world. But secondly, of course, it's a nice demand opportunity for us. So in terms of ounces, you see OZ there, that's ounces. One fuel cell electric vehicle is the same as three light duty vehicles in terms of consumption of PGMs. Does that mean that it's very expensive? No, it doesn't mean at all that is very expensive, because there is much fewer components also in the fuel cell electric vehicle than in an internal combustion engine vehicle. So in total, we think fuel cell electric vehicles will be on cost parity in the future with battery electric vehicles and with internal combustion engine vehicles. Then a second thing that we are looking at is at batteries. So everybody's looking at batteries, but batteries in general and battery electric cars in particular have two major disadvantages. One is the range is compromised. So in order to give a long range, you have to put a very big battery in the car, which takes a lot of space, which is heavy, and which makes it very, very expensive, right? And a second one is the recharging time, which takes quite a long time. So that's why certain use cases, battery electric vehicles will be perfect, the smaller cars for short distance. But in other applications, fuel cell electric vehicles will be more appropriate for longer distance for passenger cars. If you want to drive from, I don't know, Beijing to Shanghai, maybe you don't want to take the train or the plane, then a fuel cell electric vehicle is much more practical than a battery electric vehicle. And I'm pleased to say that China, once again, like with battery technology, is at the forefront in the world for fuel cell electric vehicles for passenger cars. SAIC, the company very well from Shanghai, already has one or two models in their portfolio, but they're going to step up and produce between 8 and 10 new models in the next 10 years, I believe. And then there's others now, Great Wall with their Haval brand, GAC, Chang'an Motors from Chongqing. They all announced in the last month or so that they will start introducing and developing and marketing and selling fuel cell electric vehicles. But in the battery space, we can also improve the battery. So what OEMs want is higher energy density. It means for the same size of battery, you can have more power or range, or you can have the same power or range for a smaller, so lighter, so cheaper battery. And we have a startup company. We started a company called Lion Battery with a university. It's a spin-off from a university in Florida in the United States, where palladium and platinum can be added to lithium ion and lithium air and lithium sulfur batteries and make them much, much more energy efficient. So in that sense, we are convinced that PGMs will also have their place in battery electric vehicle. So that means that in any car that rolls off an assembly line, any vehicle in the future, PGMs will be in. PGMs will be in internal combustion engines like they are today, in the catalytic converter. They will be in the battery, as I just talked about, and they will be in the fuel cell for fuel cell electric vehicles. So in that sense, it's a very strategic sector, the PGM sector. In that sense, we are convinced there will be a lot of demand for PGMs, and that is always a good argument for an investment case. And then lastly, we also think electrofuels, so for example, or e-fuels, internal combustion engines can also be made carbon neutral. That's quite easy. So instead of making your petrol from oil that you get out of the ground, you basically make it chemically by combining CO2 that you can capture or wherever you get it from, and hydrogen. You can combine it, and with that you can make e-fuels which are neutral. So mobility Mobility is a big sector that we are seriously looking at, and we are investing there and helping shape the value chain. There's other things. There's PGMs for modern life. We call it a consumer and industrial. So food. So if we talk about decarbonizing the world, of course, the energy system has to change, but also food is a huge contributor to carbon emissions. So food preservation, we waste a lot of food in the world, and we're going to be 8 billion people very soon. So I think we better start being more cautious with food, and we shouldn't throw away so much food. And that's why food preservation is a very big one. And there we have, together with Fuguya, a company called Ecotech that has developed a catalyst that will keep your food longer fresh in your refrigerator. It's a chemical process, and we're working with a leading Chinese refrigerator manufacturer to start marketing this. Other things are pharmaceutical and healthcare. So we are developing a revolutionary cancer drug that in the very sad event that somebody needs cancer treatment, which is sometimes called chemotherapy, it's a platinum-based, light-activated cancer drug that will cure the cancer, attack the tumor, but not give you all the side effects that you sometimes have, because patients who are getting chemotherapy often feel very sick. They have hair loss and all kind of side effects, and we can eliminate the side effects and still cure the cancer. And this is a platinum-based solution. We are doing a spin-off company right now. It's with University of Warwick in the United Kingdom. We're very, very proud of that. And then thirdly, computers. So who would have known that PGMs in computer chips would be used, right? This is one of the things I talked about. It's very young metals. We didn't know 6-7 years ago. Nobody thought even about putting PGMs in computers. Well, we do. And it's called low loss computing. So I will not go into the details because it's a stretch for me, being an economist, to explain to you how a computer works. But the bottom line is it is faster, it consumes less electricity. So it's really the new computer chips, and you can imagine that is a really nice future demand sector. And then I call it PGMs for wealth and luxury, because life is not only all these rational things. You also want to put your money where you can earn a decent income, and you want to then enjoy the income that you have. And the income earning you can do by working very hard and by putting your saving money in the right investments. And we think definitely that investing in platinum related or PGM related assets is the right thing to do. And there WPIC is really helping us a lot and doing an excellent work. And then, of course, in the jewelry sector, it's very well known. Poon talked about it this morning, where they're also looking at new alloys and trying to be much more innovative. So this is now a view from our from a mining company. And of course, we like ounces because a lot of ounces will create a lot of business for us. A lot of ounces will also generate a good pricing power, and a good pricing power means a good investment case. And there you see these three themes: the green transition, modern life, wealth and luxury. You see hydrogen and battery, the carbon neutral feedstock, pollution control, low loss computing, food tech, med tech, what I talked about, and then jewelry and investment. And I'm not going to go through it all, but it's millions of ounces of potential demand. And as you can see, the metals that are used, it's across our basket of the 6 metals that we have, but it's very platinum orientated. Of course, as you can see, platinum is in everywhere. And so is palladium, ruthenium, iridium, and in the medtech, very specifically, osmium. All right, so a very wide area of cases. So What do we specifically do? And I will not, don't be afraid, I will not give an explanation about any of these companies in detail, or every of these companies in details, but we have now already over 50 projects, investments, activities, spin-off companies that we are active in. And here they are. You can see them again grouped in green transition, modern life, wealth and luxury. So we create some ventures. That means companies that we create right from the start with a technology that's completely unknown. So you have some that I want to point out. For example, under green transition, you see Mission Zero there. That is a low-cost CO2, because basically, in order to make chemical feedstock for the chemical industry, if you have CO2 and you have hydrogen, with that, you can combine it into any chemical substance. So this is a huge future green feedstock for the chemical industry. Mission Zero is a company, and it's not a joke what I'm telling you now. That is a machine for direct air capture. So it means you take air out of the atmosphere and you take the CO2 out. And the way they do that is by imitating the functioning of the human lung. And this is a company that we are invested in. It's a spin-off company that Anglo co-owns. And with that, we can bring the cost of CO2 down. And if you have low-cost CO2 and low-cost hydrogen, you have low-cost chemical feedstock for everything. So this is a really interesting one. Then I just want to point out Lion batteries there. That's what I just talked about, palladium and platinum in lithium batteries. Then modern life, the computer chips is called the memory software. I have it there, Warwick. We do the same in China. So CNI Tech, it's PGMs also in computer technology to improve the computer chips. That's with a company in China, but a different track of technology. And I like that. I like these competing technologies that they're looking at the same and trying to come up with the best solution. Then we have AP Ventures in the middle there. That's a company that we spun off, and this is an investment fund that now has $400 million invested in these 24 companies. And these 24 companies are mainly in the hydrogen value chain. So it is from generation of hydrogen to compression, to transportation, to storage, and to use. So the whole value chain across, you have all these companies there, and you can basically see them. I will not go into details. And then they also have a bit in food preservation and sensor technology, etc. But it's mainly a hydrogen-focused fund. And then we have commercial and industrial collaboration. These are things that don't have to invent it anymore, like a fuel cell vehicle doesn't have to invent it. It is there. It has to be scaled. So that's what we call commercial industrial collaboration. So there we're working in the UK and in South Africa, and we want to do that the same in China and the United States to make sure that use cases for fuel cell electric vehicle. I also want to point out the ePure under PGM of Modern Life. That is a company and a startup company that we have established in China to basically treat industrial wastewater. As you know, due to the rapid industrialization of China, waste and pollution control is a big priority. Also in the 5-year plan, the current one, in the new one that will be presented next month, pollution control is at the top of the agenda, and rightfully so, of your political leadership. And there PGMs can play a big role. We talked a lot, and you hear a lot about hydrogen. So why are we so interested in hydrogen? Very, very clear. Is one thing is growing demand for our metals, and we want to stay in business. But secondly, is also decarbonizing our operations. So let me talk about that a little bit. In hydrogen will create a lot of demand for our metals. So if only, you can see it there, passenger vehicles would reach 15%, small passenger vehicles, 15% of the world's cars. Small cars would be fuel cell vehicles, smaller cars. We have 3.4 million ounces of demand. You can see heavy duty trucks. That is where fuel cells will be very popular, because batteries are not an option. If you have a truck fully loaded with 40 tons and that has to drive from Shanghai to Guangzou or Shanghai to Beijing with a battery truck, that is very difficult. They have to stop a lot, charge a lot, and the battery takes a lot of space and weight. Buses is another use case, and then of course PEM electrolyzers. So the top is how to use the hydrogen, and the bottom is how to produce the hydrogen. You can see on the charts on the right that the demand for PGM has a very, very bright future. We go across the whole chain there. So we proactively shape that from hydrogen production to then the infrastructure and then to the end use case. And you can see it. We have over 5 research collaboration and 10 venture startup companies that we have invested in shaping the business. We directly fund refueling infrastructure and we do R&D. So we have 15 refueling stations co-funded worldwide, and we are now in discussion in China with a very large operator to do the same. And then fuel cell end users. So we are very much pushing the end use. And how do we do that? We shape the operating environment. We organize seminars, engage with the lawmakers in different jurisdictions, and we do a lot. We engage in a lot of external communication. So these are just a few examples. So how do we scale hydrogen and fuel cells? So again, there is still some technological things that you can improve there, but a lot, I mean, the fuel cell is invented, it's there. Hydrogen is there, it just has to be scaled and brought to cost. So with AP Ventures, I talked about it, 400 million in investment under management, about 360 million already invested, 24 investments across the value chain, and we have 11 limited partners, and we are the founding father of that. Then we want to push the usage of fuel cell vehicles, very clear. And fuel cell vehicles, they face a chicken and egg problem. The cars makers say there is not enough refueling stations, and the refueling station people say there is not enough cars. So in order to have that, to break that chicken and egg situation, we want to push very much the hydrogen refueling station infrastructure, and that will come along big freight corridors. This is where trucks usually drive. They don't go randomly off into small roads. They usually drive on the big interstates. That is the same in China. That's the same in Europe, in South Africa, in the United States. That is the same everywhere. So once you have the fuel cell trucks, you will have the stations. And once you have the stations, the passenger cars can follow. So we do that in South Africa. It's called the South African Hydrogen Freight Corridor. You can see it there on the map. It goes from our mines, just north of Johannesburg, all the way to the port of Durban, from where everything that we mine is basically shipped. The same we're doing in the United Kingdom. So there is a same initiative where we're very much involved. And then in China, we do a lot of policy advocacy. We really want to help push in China the hydrogen agenda. So we are the founding father, really, of the International Hydrogen Fuel Cell Association of China, with whom every year we organize a big conference. It used to be in Rugao. It is now in Shanghai. So, and we are really very, very active. We enjoy an excellent cooperation with SAE, so Society of Automotive Engineers in China. And yes, we really think the Chinese market is pivotal for this, is going to lead the way in the world with this technology. And we're very active there. So we play a significant role in accelerating momentum in the hydrogen sector. You basically see where we're all active, and you see just looking at the map, it's very clear where we are active in North America, in Europe, and of course in China. So I won't go into the details here. This is basically giving you a look on how active we are in this field. Now, this is one thing, is we want to decarbonize the world because it's good for the world and it's good for our business, so that's a win-win. But we also want to decarbonize our own business. And, you know, when OEMs make their vehicles, their battery vehicles or their fuel cell electric vehicles, they do it in a quite compact way. When a mining company makes a fuel cell electric vehicle, you have this monster here. These are our big trucks which are operating in several of our mines, but for PGMs it's in our Mogalakwena mine that we call in South Africa. These things are huge, 400 tons they weigh, and they were diesel electric. So there's a diesel engine, diesel generator that creates electricity and drives the wheels to bring all the ore up, and then it will be processed and will be made into platinum, palladium, etc. One truck like this every day consumes 3,000 liters of diesel. Right, that is the same as 1,500 cars, right? So we have Anglo American has 400 trucks of these running around in the world, and we all want to convert them. So what we did is we made them from diesel electric into fuel cell electric. So the diesel engine came out, and we put a large fuel cell system in. And the hydrogen that is needed to drive the fuel cell, to generate the electricity, we make ourselves at the mine from solar panels. So we have the sun and the wind that drives these huge trucks. So if Anglo American converts, and that's what we want to do, worldwide of 400 mining trucks, this is the same as taking 600,000 cars off the road, or it's the emissions of 600,000 cars. There's 4,000 trucks like this worldwide. That if the whole world, if all these 4,000 trucks would be changed into fuel cell electric, and we hope one day that will be the case, that is the same as saving the emissions of 6 million vehicles that are in operation. So the scale here is quite enormous. And yeah, so we think we want to start with decarbonizing our own organizations, but we're also trying to make a business out of that, because we have now expertise in doing that. And there's many companies that are already looking at us. By the way, in China, there's also trucks like this driving around. So we are very much interested to talk to these operators as well. All right, that's our own operations. And now I want to come back to two things that I said before. The one thing is PGMs are very young metals. They're like babies. And I am convinced, and we at Anglo are convinced, that we don't know. There's a lot of usage cases that we don't know yet what PGMs can be used for. That's one, that's important. And secondly, China is an important market for us. China stays in our focus, and we are committed to China. And bringing these two together, we are building, and I'm very happy that together with the Lingang Group, and Paul talked about that we in Anglo American are founding the Shanghai PGM Institute. The Shanghai PGM Institute, it's a non-profit organization, but basically where bright people of China will look at use cases for PGMs in the Chinese market to improve people's life, to decarbonize the world, to give us a healthier, better, cleaner, and greener environment. So I'm really happy about that. The location is in Lingang, Shanghai. You can see a picture there. Those people who are from Shanghai know very well the famous round pound, which is just south of the Pudong airport. So every time, because I lived in Shanghai for 4 very happy years of my life, and every time I flew into Shanghai, very often I could see this from my window. And who would have known that one day we will have the PGM industry? The founding ceremony was just held, I think, last week. So we're very, very proud of them. So it's a unique opportunity for the PGM market recognition in the industry. So it will be a hub of people and talent, as I said before, and capital. So we want to do the same. That will look for new cases where PGM can be deployed. It's an incubator platform. It's an R&D platform. It is also a communication platform for investor relations, right? Because I think the capital markets in China will notice this and will see, and I'm pretty sure a lot of exciting new applications for PGMs will come out of that, and the investor community will take note of that. It's also a data center, so it's a hub of knowledge, and I think to help China in its global ambitions of becoming an export champion as well. So Lingang has a free trade zone there, and it's a great base from there to cover the Asia Pacific region and later other regions in the world. So I'm super excited about that, because it brings together two basic principles of our thinking. There's a lot of PGM applications that we don't know yet, and our focus on China as a very important partner for us. So all this fits in Anglo's carbon neutral vision. We want to reduce our emissions, scope 1 and 2, that are the emissions we directly cause, by 30% by 2030, and we will have net neutral by 2040. So that's very ambitious for a big industrial company like us. And the way we're going to do this is renewable energy ecosystems. I talked about it. Methane emissions. Methane is a more powerful greenhouse gas than carbon, which we will abate in our operations. We will have clean and mobile fleets. We talked about that with the truck, and we are very much believer in global carbon sequestration. So it means you capture the carbon and you put it away so you don't blow it in the air. So I hope with this I gave you a little insight in how we think and what we do in Anglo American, and I thank you very much for your attention. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful, thank you, Benny. That was an extremely interesting presentation, much appreciated, and an excellent update on the industry at Anglo American. Thank you.